Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribes to my channel. Today we will talk about state of the Russian army. More than 10 months into the Russian invasion of Ukraine, looking back at 2022, the Kremlin is sparing no effort to at least partially restore the capability of its armed forces, which continue to shrink amidst heavy fighting. In recent months, neither the large-scale enlistment of prisoners, nor mass conscription, nor supplies of Iranian-made drones, nor command reshuffles coupled with nuclear blackmail have enabled Russia to turn the tide of war in its favor or improve its foreign policy standing. Nevertheless, the Russian authorities clearly intend to continue the war at any cost in order to at least improve their foreign policy status. They still hope to force Ukraine and the West to broker a ceasefire and/or start negotiations, but only on the Kremlin's terms, which include at least maintaining control over the occupied territories. These negotiations will buy Russia time to lick its wounds and to launch a new round of its war against Ukraine, as well as its confrontation with the US and Europe. All in all, the Kremlin shows no signs of having abandoned its original war aims. That is why, on 21 December 2022, at its year-end staff meeting, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced plans, dubbed by many as a new military reform. However, reform implies institutional changes and innovations. What Moscow is going to do with its army amidst hostilities looks more like a desperate attempt to solve the most acute problems, or to pretend to be solving them. Nominalists versus realists. Throughout the post-Soviet period, Russia has been reducing the number of its military personnel. The beginning of this process dates back to 1985, to the Soviet era. Still, the Kremlin has always clung to the idea that the Russian army must be quantitatively many times larger than not only any army in the post-Soviet states, but also any army of any NATO member state except the United States. That is why, on paper, the manpower ceiling of the Russian armed forces has never fallen below 1 million. This is not only meant to maintain Russia's status as a superpower, along with veto power on the UN Security Council and its nuclear arsenal, but also to ensure unconditional political dominance over all its neighbors, and to serve as a tool for revanche in foreign policy. This status and revanchist ambitions, which ripened in the 1990s, were designed to permanently cement Russia's power and property distribution system. Simply put, reliance on revanchism and military might has increasingly become one of the main means of legitimizing Russian power. Still, objective socio-economic factors have taken their toll. In 1997, the nominal headcount of the Russian armed forces was 1.7 million service personnel, compared with the real number of about 1.2 to 1.3 million. This number was reduced to 1.135 million in the 2000s. In 2016, it was further cut to 1 million. By then, the real number of military personnel was already 770,000. True, the nominal number was soon increased to 1.013 million servicemen, but this had no effect on the real number. On the contrary, voices could be heard that the nominal number should be brought closer to the real number. The ideal of an army of 1 million soldiers should finally be abandoned. In August 2022, 6 months into the invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin decided to increase the nominal headcount of the armed forces by as many as 137,000 service personnel to 1.150 million in 2023. In other words, it was decided to exceed even the nominal level of military manpower maintained in 2006 to 2016, 1.135 million, and ultimately to give up the idea of bringing the size of the army in line with Russia's objective defense needs and economic potential without detriment to overall socio-economic development, which had been discussed for the second half of the 1980s until the early 2010s. It is noteworthy that this idea was almost by definition a clear contradiction to the idea of maintaining Russia's military dominance over its neighbors and revanchism in foreign policy. 4 months later, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced that the nominal size of the armed forces should reach 1.5 million service personnel over the next few years, 695,000 of whom, soldiers, surgeons, warrant officers, etc., should serve under contract. The political decision has already been taken, although the relevant decree had not been published by the time this article was written, and the timeline is also not clear. What do you think of my video? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching my video.